Okay, have you ever seen comments on a known grifter's videos underneath them or wherever that they're being told off, man? They're being raked through the coals. They are being told off by several people, meaning apparently that because they tend to dirty delete, what people call dirty delete comments. It's not really, because if it were against the rules, then they wouldn't be able to do it. But it's not against the rules, so they can do it. But socially, some people want to see it as dirty deleting. And but I guess the person who made the video, the grifter, let's just continue to call her the grifter, and whomever she has that helps her to dirty delete the negative comments, they were unavailable. And boy, some people jumped on her about her lying. Just put it in fact, just put it like that. I meant to say that she was lying. And they jumped on her about her lying and her logic or illogic. She's kind of illogical. It really is a grift. And she thinks her audience that all of them are stupid. This is the feel that she gives me, and I'm a social and behavioral scientist. That she thinks her audience, they're a bunch of idiots, and she's superior to all of them, and she has to show that she is superior and that they must support her in the fashion she sees she is owed by them. I'm serious. This is how she puts it off. And she has gotten to the point where she has put out there that she doesn't feel like she needs to work. And before I had pneumonia, I was out I was out as if I have a job on here. I don't. I wasn't watching videos for over a month while I had pneumonia here recently, just getting over it, really. Just like totally, finally. I wasn't watching, so I wasn't paying attention. But before then, she was actually saying things like that God was telling her. God was telling her. Okay, you heard that right. And her base, her subscribers that send her money are very Christian. And she was saying that God was telling her she didn't need to work. She should not be working. She should be doing other things more worthy than working. So she's wanting her to guilt shame her audience into that they're Christians and they need to mind what God says and support her in the fashion she deems that she deserves. And that fashion she showed the world more than once over the past however many years, maybe 3 or 4 years, that she and her, she only has adult children, a couple of them, that they deserve, and see, entitlement, to eat like wealthy people. Okay, like she thinks wealthy people. Adam and I are comfortable, very comfortable. Okay, we worked hard, both hard and smart. As people say, oh, you got to work smart, not hard. Hey, for some people it takes a combination. For some people it's all hard. So don't feel bad if it's either. Anyway, and then you get to a point in your life where you're comfortable. Nobody should try to say, oh, well, that's why. No, you work for it. You go through life working hard and smart, yeah. But this is somebody who thinks it should be given to her. She's still young enough to make a difference in her own life. She's capable, but she thinks she has an audience that are stupid people, and they will pay for it. When there are some, I won't call them stupid. She seems to think they're stupid. She seems to think, I mean, she has actually said things to her audience, to them, on video, showing how she sees them. Okay, she didn't call them stupid, but she would use like an example of someone who said something against her, and she was saying that person, you know, basically saying stupid without saying the word stupid. But that person had formerly been one of hers that was paying, giving her money, and realized she is a grifter. You know, a swindler. She, you know, she's one of those Sob-Story fraudsters. You know, she says, "Oh, I don't have money for groceries." That kind of person, when she goes out and spends a lot of money, like she, you know, she and one of her child, she has 2 adults. Okay, they're adults, and they go and spend a couple of $100 a day just for an outing because they deserve it. And her audience is, some of her audience believes that she deserves it. She and her, you know, child, her adult child, you know, or one or the other, they deserve it because they are so what? Such good at grifting. Is that what they're good at? But anyway, the audience basically ran with what I just said. I mean, it wasn't me that said it that made them run with it. They chose themselves. I was amazed because I've been sick, like I said, with pneumonia. And yesterday was the day I finally read some comments on the video. And I think it was yesterday. Because I haven't been watching, you know, for over a month. And I read some of the comments, and like I said, apparently they had gotten, and it was a new video, I guess a day maybe or so, I don't know, but they must have been on another vacation, and they weren't there to dirty delete them. They weren't available, but they did, within a few hours, they dirty deleted them, and they were rough, man. They were right on target. That people should have said that. And of course, you know, the ones who are the flying monkeys. That's what they call them when it's about narcissistic abuse. I used to make a lot of videos on narcissistic abuse. You know, history on it, behaviors. Like I said, I'm a social and behavioral scientist. I was a career student over 20 years. I really wanted to know what I know, and I do. So there. I'm not perfect, but hey, over 20 years, that's a lot. You know, both undergraduate and graduate courses at university, that's a lot. Okay, so, but I'm so glad that, I am really glad that there are people out there who are now speaking up, and they just, whether it gets deleted or not, they're still writing, you know. And for somebody to dirty delete something like that, an opinion, that says a lot about their character too, you know. But she did leave up one long enough to leave a comment to the comment that was rough. It wasn't the roughest of all of them. It was a mild one, and she corrected that person and said, "You are the one who's wrong." And she left it up long enough. I mean, I just checked it. After that, I wanted to check it again to see if more people today had left a comment, and I saw that, and I said, "Ooh, I got to see what happens later on." And yeah, she dirty deleted that one too. After, I guess, it was long enough for people to read how she responded with "You're wrong," and it's one of the, you know, the flying monkeys, you know, like on the Wizard of Oz, flying monkeys. Said, "See there, you know, to the original poster, you were wrong." And she believed her. She was not, I mean, there was a little bit of stuff that wasn't made clear. And that was the problem. It wasn't made clear. It wasn't that the audience, because more than one person commented on it. So it was just not made clear. And there was no reason for them to assume any otherwise. So that was the problem. Okay, the person was basically maybe ignorant, or you're the grifter, or wanting to brag, wanting to assume, for people to assume she was of that, that wealth. Okay. Now imagine some people, somebody who believes that they are wealthy because they're grifters and they get money from their audience. I'm not talking about like people selling you property, and what is the expression, waterfront property in Arizona or something like that. And wasn't it a song? But not that kind, or not the ones going to a, what's it called, Ponzi scheme or anything like that. It's just that they're telling sob stories about their lives. Oh, it's so this. Oh, so this. I got a ticket for speeding. I got a ticket for something they did wrong. But they whine and say, oh, now I'm not going to have money for groceries. So their base, their audience will send them money because they don't want them to starve. Poor things. Well, maybe that person should have thought that you are not above the law. You have those driving, the speed limits are the law. You're not above it. Where it says for disabled person parking only, you don't get to park there just because it's going to just take a minute. Nope. Doesn't work that way. You deserve that boot on your car. You deserve being towed. You deserve whatever ticket they give you. You deserve that. But I'm telling you, this is the type that will whine and cry so the audience will pay for it. What are you teaching? If you're so Christian, like, what are you teaching that supposed Christian by telling them it's okay that they do these things wrong and that you'll pay for it, you'll help to pay for it? What are you teaching them? Morals? What are you teaching them? Look at your Bible. Should you be allowing them to grift and you pay for it? Them to break the law and you pay for it? Think about it. No, seriously, think about it. What are you doing? And you're going to go around saying you are the Christian? She's a Christian? Christians don't go around just breaking laws willy-nilly. They also don't swindle. The Bible is really, really harsh on people who are swindlers. Grifters, swindlers, however you want to call them. That are lying big time. Okay, big time. Okay, but like I said, I'm not a person, I'm a Christian. I'm a scientist, I'm a Christian. Yes, you can be both. And a lot of people want to say, oh, scientists can't be a Christian. Yes, they can. You heard me, right? Okay, so let's move on from there. Don't listen to everything you hear. Don't believe everything you hear. You people who want to make this line between the two, Christian and scientist, because if they can only be one or the other. Why are they that? Because they might call you on the carpet whenever you do something like what I just mentioned. Yeah, they think very logically. Yeah. What does your Bible say about that? My Bible say about that. I'm a Christian. I've read quite a bit of it. I mean, it's difficult. It actually is kind of difficult, depending on which version you use. I'm not a fan of newer versions because I've seen I've had to read postmodern speak, as we used to call it. And it's the toughest language, really. As Bell Hooks, may she rest in peace, said it was the language of the educated elite. It's tough. So the Bible, King James Version, can be as tough. But I've seen the translations, and I don't know how many, and they don't really fit. Okay, yeah. So, but I was raised that way, not to believe the translations since the King James Version. And anyway, to move on back to this, I am not a person who's looking for vengeance. I believe what the Bible says about that, and I really do. But I also understand that, true Christians need to point it out to their congregation, their community. And, when somebody is a known grifter and they're trying to rip off other people in the community by lying. Okay? But just basically lying. Sob-Story. Oh my, I don't have, I think the first one I heard was the first one, or maybe around the first one I heard online over 11 years ago. And was that their mother or their grandmother didn't have a working furnace and needed money to get, the furnace working. And the person who was doing that on video, after she got money from her audience, it was about 11 years ago, she went and did some things like got her hair done and her nails done and all this stuff. And boy, did her, back then, like YouTube and these social media, they were more on community. And boy, did people ever jump on her. That was not the only one I saw like that. One woman was using her kids. That seems to be common, especially these days. I see more and more of that, of people using their kids to grift. I mean, can you imagine the conversation that a parent, it's usually moms, not always, when they're using their child, their young children, I don't talk about children, but their young children, say in elementary school, they're using their kids to grift and make online videos. And then imagine the conversation when somebody, as they get older, somebody tells them, hey, look, this was your mom. Look what she was doing, lying and using all of you. Imagine the conversation between the mom and those kids. When the kids realize that mom is that person. Their mom is that person. That it makes them shame. They shame the family by lying and going to food banks and bragging about, they're proud, like bragging about that they have enough money to buy their own groceries, but they want a savings account. They call it an emergency fund, but they use it for things like $20,000. Around a $20,000, vacation overseas for them and their children. That's their emergency. Oh, but they deserve it. The people who helped to fund this, the Christians, some of them, not all of them, but they deserve it because they're so hardworking. She's such a good stay-at-home mom. If she were such a good stay-at-home mom, she wouldn't be living in a pigsty. Yeah, more than one of them I've seen like that. Okay, when you're living in a pigsty because you want to be there for your children. Oh, I want to be there for children, but you're always out shopping and buying junk and hoarding junk. That doesn't help the kids at all, or your household at all. It looks like a pigsty. I'm very opinionated on this now. Just over a month I've been sick with pneumonia, and I'm like, no. This stuff needs to be brought to attention. I am not one to put my face on video. I have had plenty of videos over, it'll be 12 years in August. I've had plenty. I've had my first computer in 1982. I've been seeing, I used to be a part of a huge group of, we were called geeks back then. Geek was a dirty 4-letter word practically. We were the nerds. We were that, before, many people had computers. And I was a member of, there were hundreds, if not thousands, and in this area in Texas. So I've been online since, way back then, And I've seen plenty. I've been seen plenty. It's just not my thing. And I don't, you know, that kind of thing, it does kind of take a lot of work. And I'm not one to put myself on camera, and people, they don't want to watch or listen to videos that, you know, it's not a podcast, and I'm not on the, you know, on the camera. Believe me, trust me, people, I'm social and behavioral scientist. And I know if I showed my face during all, I would have more, I'd have viewers. I don't have them now because, once again, and have been consistently inconsistent, and been past 3 years through a lot of health conditions since 2023, and I haven't been very consistent with, you know, keeping videos up. Like during that whole month, and maybe month and a half, I don't know if I even put up one video. So it's not shadow banned, it's dead channel, is I think what it is called. You know, it's called dead channel. So I might get one view because it's not going to send out impressions. They call it impressions. And because it dead channeled me. It didn't shadow ban me, it dead channeled me. Shadow banned is when you do something wrong, and I haven't done anything wrong, just got sick. So dead channel, from what I understand, is when something like that happens and you're not making your videos consistently. And believe me, it takes a long while before I've been doing it almost 12 years, you know, making videos all around, and I've had moments when I wasn't available like I usually am, and that's what happens. But anyway, I'm doing stream of consciousness, but as far as, you know, these, I'm glad that there are people who are younger and you know, have that energy, have that. I don't have energy much. Seriously, don't have energy much with all these health things going on. And you know, they have the energy and I don't think they're looking for vengeance. They're looking to spread the word to the congregation, you know, their community. Don't fall for these grifters. And that's what they're trying to spread. They're showing evidence. They're showing how the person's logic is not logical. You know, how the person is lying to them. No, there's not just one. There's plenty, and they're not just female. Okay, it's not just the females out there doing this. And yeah, I'm wondering if the rain's up it was about 30 minutes from now. It's supposed to be storming. But the view that you've had, you may have seen change. But south of it, that's north. South of here, I can see it. Yeah. Like that. But anyway, I think that's enough for this for now. I'll talk to you on another video.